What is existentialism really? At its core, existentialism is the radical idea that life doesn't come with pre-written meaning. There's no divine script handed down from above. As Sartre put it, existence precedes essence. Pause there. Let's unpack it. In traditional thinking, essence, what something is, comes first. A chair is made to be sat on. A knife is made to cut. Their meaning exists before they do. But human beings, we're the opposite. We exist first, thrown into the world without a manual, and only then do we create who we are through our choices. Sartre writes, "Man first of all exists, encounters himself, surges up in the world, and defines himself afterward. Every decision, every action, every silent moment of hesitation becomes a brushstroke painting who you are." And here's the thing. There's no one else to blame. No God handing down orders. No grand utilitarian formula telling you what's right. Just you. It's an idea both thrilling and terrifying, because it means you are radically free and radically responsible. Even the small things, the way you sit in your chair, the way you glance at someone in a conversation, these are choices. You're crafting yourself, moment by moment, action by action. There's no waiting for life to reveal your true self. You are what you do. Sartre says, "You are nothing else but the sum of your actions." And that's where existentialism starts, with the uncomfortable, exhilarating realization that you are condemned to be free. Next, we'll dive deeper into why this freedom is both a blessing and a curse. So if existence comes before essence, and if freedom is absolute, why is it that we so often run away from it? Jean-Paul Sartre had a word for that too. He called it bad faith. Bad faith isn't just lying to others. It's lying to yourself, pretending you're not free when you actually are. It's comforting, after all, to imagine that someone else is pulling the strings, that we're just following a script written by society, biology, destiny. Sartre offers a vivid example. The Parisian waiter. Picture it. A waiter, moving with mechanical grace, every gesture precise. He's playing the role of the perfect waiter, not because he chooses it authentically, but because that's what's expected of him. In his mind, he is a waiter, and nothing else. But here's the catch. He's forgotten that he is choosing, moment by moment, to embody that role. He's surrendered his freedom. He's pretending he's nothing more than his job description. Sartre writes, he is playing at being a waiter in a cafe. It's not about working hard. It's about living as if you're just the mask you wear. Bad faith is comfortable, but it's a betrayal of what it means to be fully human. And Sartre doesn't stop there. He gives another haunting image, the cold, clammy hand on a first date. Imagine you reach out to hold someone's hand. They don't pull away, but they don't grasp it either. Their hand just sits there, lifeless, indifferent. In that moment, they refuse to choose, neither accepting nor rejecting, trying to escape the responsibility of decision. But according to existentialism, inaction is still a choice. Sartre says, man is nothing else but what he makes of himself. To not choose is itself a choice, and that's the weight existentialism places on every moment. Even silence speaks, even hesitation counts. Every second of living shapes who you are becoming. And that realization, it can be overwhelming, which is why Sartre says humans are condemned to be free. Freedom isn't a gentle gift wrapped in velvet. It's a heavy, relentless demand. It calls for courage, the kind of courage to stand naked in front of existence itself and say, I choose. If Sartre showed us the weight of freedom, Friedrich Nietzsche showed us what happens when the old maps of meaning collapse altogether. In the 19th century, Nietzsche looked around at Europe and saw something staggering unfolding: the slow, quiet death of belief. He famously declared, "God is dead, God remains dead, and we have killed him." But Nietzsche wasn't celebrating. He wasn't mocking religion like a gleeful atheist. He was mourning. Because when belief in God crumbled, it wasn't just about churches emptying. It meant the collapse of an entire moral framework, the rules, the values, the sense of purpose that had held Western civilization together for centuries. In its place, a terrifying void, without divine commandments, without a cosmic reason for suffering or success. What was left? Nothing but nothing. This is nihilism. The fear that life has no meaning, that everything, struggle, love, art, sacrifice, is pointless. Nietzsche writes, "What were formerly convictions are now only articles of faith, assumptions that have ceased to be proven by reason but are still demanded by morality." In other words, the scaffolding was still standing, but the foundations were gone. And Nietzsche didn't think humans would calmly accept this. He foresaw that nihilism would lead to despair, chaos, maybe even violence. Without something to believe in, people would either fall into hopelessness or desperately cling to any new ideology that promised certainty, no matter how destructive. Sound familiar? But Nietzsche wasn't content just to diagnose the disease. He offered a way through it. He called for something astonishing: the revaluation of all values. Instead of relying on inherited meaning, Nietzsche challenged us to become creators of meaning, to look into the abyss of nothingness and dance. He imagined a new kind of human, a Übermensch, the Overman, who would live with authenticity, courage, and artistry, crafting his own values in a godless world. Nietzsche writes, "One must still have chaos in oneself to be able to give birth to a dancing star." Existentialism took Nietzsche's challenge seriously, but it also added something even more tender: the recognition of our fragility, the acknowledgement that freedom can be crushing, and that most of us, most of the time, are struggling to stay upright in the storm. So existentialism is not about heroes or superhumans. It's about all of us, ordinary, vulnerable, uncertain, trying to build a life anyway. Where Nietzsche shattered the old certainties, Martin Heidegger asked a deeper, quieter question. Not, what is the meaning of life? But simply, what does it mean to be? Heidegger felt that most philosophy had lost sight of the most obvious thing: we exist. Before we chase grand ideas about truth or morality, we are beings, thrown into a world we didn't choose. He called the human experience das Sein, literally being there. Not a soul trapped in a body, not a machine made of flesh, but a living awareness, a being in the world. And here's the crucial part. Dasein is defined by its relationship to death. Everyday life tries to distract from this fact. Work, small talk, social media, endless distractions. All of it designed to keep death at arm's length. But death isn't just some distant event on a calendar. It's always present, not morbidly, but as the horizon that gives life its urgency. Heidegger writes, "As soon as man comes to life, he is at once old enough to die." Facing death honestly strips away the illusions. It shows that existence isn't permanent, isn't automatic, isn't guaranteed. And when death is faced, not abstractly but personally, it forces a question: am I living my own life, or just drifting through someone else's expectations? This confrontation with mortality creates what Heidegger called anxiety, angst. Not fear of a specific thing like snakes or public speaking, but a deeper, more existential anxiety. The unsettling awareness that everything could slip away, that nothing has to be the way it is. And strange as it sounds, that anxiety is a gift. Because in the face of death, trivial concerns fall away. Masks drop, pretenses crack. What's left is something raw and real. The chance to live authentically, to choose freely, not because of social scripts or cultural pressure, but because a choice matters to you. Heidegger doesn't offer easy comfort, no promise of heaven, no roadmap to enlightenment. He just points to this. Life is finite, and in that finitude lies the possibility of real meaning. If Heidegger showed how death shapes existence, Albert Camus showed what happens when life refuses to explain itself. Camus called it the absurd. It's the clash between two things, the human hunger for meaning and the cold silence of the universe. We ask, why am I here? What's the purpose of suffering? Is there justice or fate or cosmic fairness? And the universe answers back, with nothing. It's like shouting into a canyon and hearing no echo. The absurd is that gap, the unbridgeable distance between human longing and a world that simply is. In the myth of Sisyphus, Camus captures it perfectly. Sisyphus, a figure from Greek mythology, is condemned by the gods to roll a boulder up a hill, only to watch it roll back down again for eternity. A pointless, endless task. No reward, no ultimate goal. Just labor and repetition. At first glance, it seems cruel. A portrait of meaningless suffering. But Camus flips it. He says, one must imagine Sisyphus happy. Why? Because once Sisyphus accepts that the struggle itself is his life, once he stops hoping for escape or redemption, he becomes free. Camus believed that true rebellion isn't about escaping the absurd. It's about living within it. Choosing to create joy, love, art, connection. Even knowing that the universe doesn't owe it to us. Even knowing that the boulder will fall again. That's courage. Not blind optimism, not bitter despair. A clear-eyed defiance. Camus writes, the struggle itself toward the heights is enough to fill a man's heart. And this isn't just abstract philosophy. It's visible in everyday life. The artist painting canvases no one may ever see. The teacher pouring heart into lessons for students who may forget. The friend showing up, again and again, even when life feels impossibly heavy. Camus didn't pretend that existence made sense. He didn't sugarcoat death or suffering. He simply insisted, life is worth living anyway. So here we are. Sartre's radical freedom. Nietzsche's death of old gods. Heidegger's anxious confrontation with death. Camus' absurd courage. But existentialism isn't just a museum of heavy ideas. It's a living challenge, one more urgent today than ever. In a world where algorithms tell us what to watch, who to date, what to buy, where news cycles scream for attention, where every day can feel like a scroll through endless noise, existentialism quietly asks, are you awake? Are you choosing your life or just drifting through it? Existentialism doesn't offer easy answers. It doesn't hand you a pre-made meaning. Instead, it says, your existence is raw material. Your freedom is terrifying and beautiful. There is no map, but you have hands to draw your own. It's about taking ownership of time, choosing presence over distraction, creating love, beauty, loyalty, truth. Not because they're guaranteed to last forever, but because they matter right now. Sartre knew it. He wrote, life has no meaning a priori. It is up to you to give it meaning, and value is nothing but the meaning you choose. Camus lived it. He said, in the depth of winter, I finally learned that within me there lay an invincible summer. And maybe that's existentialism's final gift. Not the promise of certainty, not the hope of rescue, but the courage to be fully, gloriously human in a world that offers no guarantees. So maybe the real question isn't, what is the meaning of life? Maybe it's, what meaning will you create? What do you think? Is freedom a gift or a burden? How do you find meaning in a world that doesn't hand it to you? Share your thoughts in the comments. Let's wrestle with these questions together. And if you enjoyed this journey through existentialism, consider subscribing. Because in a world full of noise, we need spaces where thinking still matters.